Gentlemen, thank you for the check to help make this happen. Privy sponsoring 11 a.m. at Breakpoints. We're excited to be here. Crazy, 27,000 people on the stream today. People seem to be intrigued by what's happening over here in Solana land. How are you guys doing?
We're trying to translate things like, gas is an easy one. One of our really exciting to me releases in 25 was the ability to sponsor gas by just putting in a credit card on your Privy dashboard, and you can just pay for your users' gas so they don't think about it. Again, gas sponsorship isn't a novel concept, but the ability to do it with one click and not think about it again, just top up basically a gas tank, so to speak, and move forward kind of changes the ways developer interact with these systems. So I think a lot of it, Jess, has been like, how do we talk to them, really try and understand how they see their users and what their users want, and then translate a lot of the concepts that we have into the modes of thinking that are natural to them. But we're trying to teach them about crypto, but we're not trying to translate that learning by like making them crypto native, so to speak. We're trying to then translate that learning by making it easy for them to use the tools that they need and nothing else.
And one of the best examples of this that we just released actually is an integration with Camino. So many of our customers want to provide yield on idle assets and Privy wallets, integrating with DeFi protocols on the fintech side. But even we've been surprised on the crypto native side. It's just too much overhead, too much choice. And so the more we can simplify that and just have it feel like you turn on yield with Privy, and then you're providing your users something that wouldn't be possible if you were building off chain. We keep making those investments and they pay off.
Let's talk a little bit more about your Klarna partnership. This is obviously a massive business, so maybe interested in both the dynamics of the partnership and maybe help people kind of level set in the size of Klarna.
You're coming in a little bit double voiced, Josh, so we had some trouble making that out.
Me too, dude. This is so
Ask it.
Technology. Josh was just asking about the partnership with Klarna, a big company, obviously an absolute beast in the fintech space. What does that mean for you? And if you can shed some light on what you guys are building there.
Broadly, we've been working with them for the better part of a year, really informally, talking about what we're seeing in the space, how folks are picking this up, and helping sort of, really educate and talk about the opportunity. And I think for them, it's things like giving their users new abilities to hold assets, to send money to each other across borders, and so on and so forth. So the sorts of things that you're seeing in stablecoin land and crypto land generally, but brought, as Max was saying, into a platform that already has these users that are used to a certain interaction model. And as part of this, frankly, they've been giving us very good feedback about the Privy interfaces themselves and the ways in which we can make these easier for them to pick up. And so to your question earlier of how do we work with this new class of customer, frankly, a lot of it is by digging really deep into a partnership. We have, a team of FDEs who just get on the ground. And so we've been, I'm excited we can now say this publicly, but I think we had an offsite to Berlin. We had an offsite to Stockholm. We've just been spending a lot of time in the same room as the great folks from Klarna in order to just talk about what should this look like and how do we actually build a wallets product that they can leverage to give their users much more access to the on-chain world. And so that's what we're working on designing with them.
And they've got 100 million plus users on their consumer app, and that's a level of scale you don't come across on the crypto native side of the market. So
how do you get them to buy my bags, gentlemen?
To buy your bags?
Yeah, mine specifically. The weird esoteric deep crypto stuff.
We'll try and pitch it to them next time we speak. It's I think a very, very good idea.
I'm happy to hop on a call too. That's helpful. I'm very good at being forward deployed. One of the things Josh and I were talking about earlier is we're sort of, we've had the privilege of knowing you guys for a while and seeing your growth, and you've been on the show a bunch of different times. And it seems, that your business is very much built on being this neutral provider of infrastructure to anybody who wants to come and interact in crypto. And then you guys get acquired by Stripe, and now Stripe is taking a very opinionated approach to their stablecoin network, etc. I'm curious how you guys are navigating this sort of, maybe this doesn't exist, but to me, there's sort of a sense of almost like a push and pull that might exist here as the success of Stripe starts to grow alongside the needs for you to maintain a neutrality and serve the entire marketplace.
Yeah, for sure. I think, honestly, this is one of the things I spend the most time thinking about. So when Stripe reached out, the conversation was, we'd love to buy you. We think wallets are an extraordinarily important part of the stack. We think you're doing the best job in the market of actually building a scalable platform that we can throw basically Stripe behind and use to power better experiences for hundreds of millions of Stripe users. And we think we can do great work together. And I want to make sure that I'm still here because everybody went off camera on my side.
We got you, boss. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, cool. And a lot of the conversation on my end was, listen, we are so impressed with the work that you've done, but it is so early in our journey, and frankly, we're not for sale. And the question came back, what would it take for you to be excited? And the answer was, one, we have to keep operating autonomously as a startup in order to move at the speed that we need to build in a market that's moving so quickly. Two, we need to keep working with, call it, stablecoin maxis and degens alike. Both sides of the market have so much to bring to how this technology gets built, and it's very important that we be on the ground with all the builders we've been serving for years, and that continue to be so. We can't become a stablecoin shop wholesale. The solution is so much more powerful because we serve both sides of the market. And then three, to your point or to your question, we have to be able to work with Stripe, with Bridge, and now with Tempo competitors. And that is exceedingly important because I think what we've seen across the board is when stacks over verticalize, when tooling gets too good at working only with certain partners, then the entire experience kind of degrades for the end users. And so it is, it was a part of the condition of us joining Stripe that we would continue to be a neutral infrastructure player in order to do this. And so today, obviously, we power Tempo wallets from day one, but we also work, with amazing customers like Lightspark, like Plasma, like Arc. Arc is a partner more so than a customer, and so on and so forth. So just across the board, we're working with Bridge as well as Braille, as well as all of these things. It's been a major commitment, and we actually were talking as part of our offsite to Patrick yesterday, who reiterated this, which was like a core linchpin of Privy at Stripe, is the fact that you guys are a neutral layer in the stack. And while Stripe itself has opinions about how to build its stack for Stripe users, Privy should work for whatever is best for Privy customers, and that's a lot of what we've been doing.
Yeah, I imagine you guys have been pretty active design partners as Tempo moved to testnet and probably towards mainnet as well. So I'm wondering if you can help us understand why we should be excited about what's getting unlocked there.
Yeah, so we know the team fairly well, even from the Odyssey and Ithaca days and generally, and I think it's work that we're really excited about. I think for two purposes. First, it's been there's been so much changes to protocol design, and I think actually Solana has been in the forefront of iterating on these changes in real time at mass scale, and it's really exciting to have another chain that can also now start experimenting with like new design that has been talked about for the past few years but never brought live at scale. So that's been really, really cool to see, and I think there's certain things that they're doing around, for example, you can pay for gas with any token. You can have priority lanes for payments. You can have built-in AA and sponsorship in a way that is pretty novel and pretty interesting. So from a developer experience standpoint, I'm actually quite excited to see Tempo kind of showing the market what else can be done, and hopefully sort of quickening the pace of protocol development, frankly, in a way that, again, Solana has been a major actor in, I think, these past few years. And so getting more voices in the market like that is going to be really good. The second piece, frankly, is it's the difference between general purpose compute and specialized compute to me. Like, I love my laptop. I do most things from my laptop, and yet I have a phone, and I use my phone for very particular things that it's better at. But they're both mega computers. And if you take it with a 1980s mind, they would both be indistinguishable from one another. They're multi-gig memory, multi-gig RAM, like machines. At a spec level, they're the same if you look at it from the 1980s. And yet today, they're very different. And I think, ultimately Tempo is being built for payments, and that means making active decisions that are pretty different from what other chains are doing. And so this is what you see in the design partner list that they have. It's actually a very purpose-built blockchain that I think is actually very exciting what it's going to do. So maybe the last thing I'll say, and this is a bit of fanboying, I worked on an L1 before Privy. it took us about 3 years from early designs to getting to mainnet launch. The world has changed so much, and so maybe that's the last celebration I would make. Part of it is skill, and it's been incredible to see how quickly Tempo is moving. Part of it is a testament to how much the space has moved forward, that we have the tooling that allows us to go from announcing an idea over the summer to actually launching a live testnet that people can hit now in December. So if nothing, this is extraordinarily bullish for 2026 and beyond.
I mean, that is crazy. I feel like so many of us that have been in the space for a while, we're kind of like the frogs in boiling water, and that we're all of a sudden getting all the things that we had wished we would have had, forever ago, and don't even know what to do with it at this time point. And I think one of the things that we talked a lot about this week is sort of the sense of the difference between what's going on in crypto Twitter and what's going on in sort of like many other pockets that are very excited about crypto. And Tolly said something earlier in our interview where he was saying that we're sort of going from the hoodies to the suits era, and the awkwardness that sort of exists through that. And so I think you guys are at a really interesting place where you get to sort of see what this transition looks like. I'm wondering if you can help, light the way for us a little bit. What is the 2026 and beyond? How do we, as people who are very clearly not wearing suits here and very clearly will not be wearing suits anytime, still get excited about this sort of new, modern, evolved crypto market?
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you go next because I've been talking a storm. But I think part of our role is to be the hoodie amongst the suit and the suit amongst the hoodies. And we've always kind of found ourselves in comfortable positions when we're sitting in between and trying to bring those two worlds together. And that's been a major part of our mission since we started 4 years ago. And so I'm actually really excited about what's coming, but I'll let you talk about this.
Yeah, I think everything that's happening on chain in the suit world is taking pages out of the hoodie playbook. So it's back to what I was saying earlier. Like there are hyperliquid features and Kalshi features showing up in Robinhood, in Cash App, and so everyone is looking to the hoodie world to see what's working. Crypto native builders always push things the furthest, and then there are 10 plus million active user bases to plug these experiences into. So prediction markets is the example that's moving the fastest right now, but every off-chain betting platform is looking to bring their infra on-chain right now. And the same is going to happen with neobanks and trading platforms and social apps. I think Farcaster is a great example of a team that is pushing what's possible in social to, I think, the furthest degree. And I think it's only a matter of time before X, Instagram, TikTok pick up features from that.
And even if you look on the TradFi, and not only like fintech, but like just traditional financial institutions, it's been really surprising to see just how much, to a large extent, literacy and interest there is in the world that is more often associated to the hoodie. And so we're having conversations with very large banks that are not fintechs, that are just financial institutions, and they're asking questions about Morpho and Aave and Camino. And so that's what I hope we see play out, is not so much a separation of the worlds, but a merging of the worlds. And I think if you tried to make a prediction 2 years ago, you would have said, well, the worlds are going to split in this setup. And that's not what we're seeing at all, which is pretty exciting. There's going to be tension, but I think the tension's very healthy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then my hot take is,
go Mexico.
The teams that build from the ground up on this stack will always be the most successful versions of these products. Hot take, but that's my belief.
Awesome.
Okay, so I am actually a big fan of offsites. So I know you think we're having a lot of fun here, which we are, no doubt. But I love an offsite because an offsite is one of the rare chances that I think you, as a leader of a startup, get to sort of really focus in on thinking about building the business rather than just being in the business on a regular basis. And so I'm very curious, as much as you're willing to share, like, what is it that are the top priorities or the biggest opportunities or the things that you see 2026 bringing into your world and maybe beyond?
Yeah. I think in a sense, I've been trying to meme this, and I'm very into, like, can we get good memes for the year? But in a sense, I've been trying to think about, it sounds like a drink, which is weird, but Privy up, Privy down, and Privy sideways. And that is to say, we occupy a very interesting part of our customer stack where we are helping them today secure keys for themselves or for their users via treasury wallets or self-custodial user wallets. We are helping them set policies on these wallets, submit transactions on chain, submit transactions on chain, index from the chain to get webhooks on chain events, and so on. From there is so much to do. Privy up means higher level abstractions, building in things like yield, like bridging and swapping, like higher level account system that's chain agnostic, and so on. Privy down means better guarantees with regards to transaction submission, MEV protection, and so on and so forth. And Privy sideways is all of the partnerships, frankly, that today we're asking our customers to build for themselves, when in fact they would like to see more of it just work out of the box. So I think an expansion of how can we help power these experiences so that people are getting the best of the tooling that we're seeing out there in a simpler way.
I mean, I noticed you didn't mention Privy Home there, which I think you launched 6 months ago. I think when it came out, very useful product for me because I play with every product, and being able to consolidate my balances and see them was very useful, but also felt, strategically very important potentially for you guys as kind of this aggregator of your on-chain history. So I'm interested in, is that intentionally left out from the strategic plan, or kind of how are you thinking about the Privy consumer product?
No, it's extremely important. We just don't think about it as the Privy consumer product. And so I see it in a sense like what's been very important is for us to work to provide max utility to the developers that we serve and their users in kind. So the way I see it is as an account settings page really for the users. So that, for example, there's in my iPhone, when I go to my settings, I can set whether notifications show up as pop-ups, banners, or silently. The app itself doesn't give you these 3 settings because it'd be so much clutter to have, when you first turn on an app that you're trying to set. They just say notifications, yes or no. And that's kind of how I see Privy Home, which is there's a lot of things that a user should be able to do in crypto, on chain, or even with regards to self-custody that may be just too much for example, an app like Klarna to show them. And so can we have a surface that enables the user to get everything they need and should get from an on-chain experience without necessarily cluttering our customer's product with it? So we see this as a companion really to the developers that we serve, and it's a continued investment and a part of everything that we do. It's just not a headline product in the way that we're actively trying to sell users on, get to crypto here first.
Awesome, guys. I feel like we covered a whole lot here. I mean, pretty incredible to see the partnerships you guys are coming out with, and it just gives me the sense of bullishness on. To me, the thing that's got me most excited is just seeing stablecoin growth generally, just seeing these rails actually get filled up with valuable things, despite the fact that they're not speculatively crazy and I can't, they're not going to retire my bloodline. That is okay. It is creating a huge package of opportunity for a lot of other people here. So, it's been wonderful to see sort of the success you guys are building at. And also every time we chat with you, I just feel like there's, we get to understand more of the nuances of the businesses you're building. And as a student of business, I find this absolutely fascinating. Just the various strategic moves that you guys have made and are going to make over the next years that are available to you. And it's a very exciting time to be building in the space, despite what the timeline is saying. I think this is just, it's impossible. If you've been around for longer than 2 years, it's impossible not to be bullish on where the space is going today.
That's what you're seeing is a split between, folks who have learned that, the token prices are a useful indicator, but there may be just that, and not to pay too close attention as a means of understanding whether we're building towards something valuable and useful to people, and those who haven't. So I actually, all of the positive sentiment on the timeline comes from people who've kind of been through the washing machine a few times already. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, when we see what's out there, how could you not be bullish right now? Great to see you guys. This was so fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks again for the support. We look forward to checking in with you again. How do you even measure users right now? Like, what's the top line number that you're tracking? Because I feel like we should just have these points in our history and conversations to show this hockey stick growth that you're on.
We've got layers. So we look at user accounts, we look at wallets, we look at active wallets, and then we look at funded wallets. So wallets with at least some balance in it. And those are the metrics that we're meticulously measuring these days.
I don't have a good yardstick for you right now. I think we're at around probably 130 active million accounts, not active, million accounts in aggregate. So that's the latest benchmark. But broadly, this is a good plug for analytics in the dashboard. We actually launched yesterday a way for Privy developers to see what percentage of wallets that they have spun up as part of their fleet have assets in them, what amount of assets, and so on. And so this is all internal tooling that we had that we're making available to our customers.
And we'll start plotting that on the chart as we have you back on in the future. Guys, thanks again for your support, and best of luck in your offsite. Go plan a good future.
Thank you so much. Great to see you guys.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.